Hey everybody, I hope you can hear me. I seem to be having some audio issues. Can you guys hear me okay, Francis? Thanks so much for having me here today. Perfect. All right, everybody. I know you're kind of curious, and I didn't mean to make this topic a bit more cryptic, but let me start with taking you back to 2019. What was happening in 2019? Well, our most favorite series of movies was ending, and everybody was upset that there was no end teaser credits to the last Avengers Endgame movie, right? Remember that? That was so long ago. And let's be honest, in 2019, what was the biggest irritant that you have for the day? Well, it's traffic, right? Do you remember traffic? I do. I don't miss it. But at that time, when you looked to the world, you looked at it with so much possibilities, right? Maybe you were thinking, ooh, I'm going to have this new business I'm going to pick up. I have, or maybe because you have a day job, you're going to have a side hustle. I was thinking that myself. Or even saying that, hey, I'm going to work on my promotion this year, or maybe at least get a raise, right? That was 2019. Then 2020 rolled in, and what happened in 2020? The first thing was that the Al volcano erupted, right? Thank God it didn't progress as much as we were worried about. But then around that time, all of us started to hear the word pandemic. Pandemic? That's just a word that you probably heard of when you were in college. And you don't really even know that it can impact your day to day life. So you went ahead, you were watching the news a little bit, and then March rolls around, and all of us around the world was told a pandemic is something that hits all countries in the world. Stay at home, you're in danger. And so all of us, the good citizens that we are, stayed at home. And the biggest problem of the day was, where am I going to get my toilet paper? Where am I going to get bread? And everyone started to learn how to cook, how to bake. And then all of us thought, well, I hope this quarantine ends soon. April, you can't come soon enough. And then April comes and April goes. And then it's May. And in May, you start thinking, huh, I think that this might take longer than what I expected. And you start worrying about your friends who are starting to get laid off and or are getting sick. And maybe at that point, the last thing that you wanted to do is shine a light on yourself and say, I have this new business idea. I have this new side hustle I want to do. I want to get a promotion or I want to get a raise. Because as women, we grew up thinking we need to take care of everyone else. And so you hide behind the scenes and say, okay, let me put my goals on hold. I'm going to put that on the shelf. Let me take care of everyone else. Now, if that was you, because it certainly was me, then this talk is really for you. Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Santos. I am a programmer. Back in the day, because I've been in the industry for about 18 years now, I would be what you call a full stack developer. We were not called that back in the day. We were just called developer and expected to do everything. I'm also a designer. I'm a functional architect. I'm an integration architect, eventually becoming a project, then program manager. And now I run a global team that help create tools that support the operations of the biggest software and platform companies around the world. And today I'm here because I want to talk to you to maybe convince you to look at those goals again and recommit them this year and actually get it done. Because believe it or not, the fact that because I'm one of them, the fact that we put our dreams on hold is causing the inequality that Francis did the intro on. So before, I go to the meat of my talk, can you guys help a girl out and go to menti.com and type in the number 5811 2010 and share with me what goals did you defer in the last year? Did you have any? And then if you didn't defer any and we need this inspiration, please type goals achieved with an exclamation point because really it deserves an exclamation point. Go do that. Let's go to Menti. Let's see if people are typing in. All right. I hope you guys can access Menti. And let's see if folks are able to get in. All right. So um, voting is open. So hope you guys can see that. All right. It's 5811 2010, and you can put multiple things. Oh, yes, goals achieved. Thank you. Whoever that was, thank you. You are an inspiration to us. Travel goals were kind of put on hold. I know. I was gonna go see my nephew that I have not seen in the last year because I thought, you know what, I'm gonna see you next year, and I couldn't. Going back to the hometown. Ooh, multiple goals achieved. Where's the exclamation point? Come on, guys. Put the exclamation point on there. Yeah, so it's menti.com 5811 2010. So anyone who was trying to get a promotion. Oh, special characters are not allowed. Sorry, Francis is telling me that special characters are not allowed. Find a higher paying job, right? So travel, fitness goals. Me too. Another goals achieved. Ooh, I'm so happy with this. Travel. A lot of people are kind of struggling with travel, finding a high paying job, love life. Yes. Buying a house. Yes. Right? All of these things that you thought you would do and get in the future. So, ooh, a new hobby, going to your hometown, visit the province, um, get a master's degree. Amazing, right? So all these things, yes, we had to put on hold because we had to take care of everybody. So let me kind of pause the voting now. Ooh, and there's so many more. Okay, community in-person event. I missed that too. Um, okay, so let's get that going, and I'm gonna go back to the talk. So thanks so much for sharing that with me. And it's important because we're going to go back to that. And I did promise I was going to connect this, right? The first thing I'm going to show you guys is the global findings of the unequal impact of COVID-19 for women, because the 1 year that we had to deal with the pandemic did not cause 1 year delay or even a 10-year delay. It's going to be more than that. And Francis teed, teed us up on that later, right? Not only are we delayed, but the last 110 years of progress on equality is at stake. So I'm going to explain the three dots that you see on your screen. The first one, before the pandemic, there was all the companies around the world was saying that if all the companies and the businesses and people commit to getting to equal, we'll actually get there by 2061. Again, this is pre pandemic. If every single business around the world commits to equality, we'll get there by 2061. Um, and even that is a date that's so far ahead, right? Most of the people on this call are going to be senior citizens by then, but still, we could have seen it in our lifetime. But at the rate we were going, even before the pandemic, actually, it was going to take us until 2120. That was 100, that's 100 years in the future. 100 years in the future before the pandemic, the rate we're going. And then last year happened. Where are we now? It's going to take us until 2171 to get equality back on track. That's how big of a problem we have. And that's not in your lifetime or my lifetime. It's not in your daughter's lifetime or even your grandkids' lifetime, right? That's too far in the future. And frankly, it is unacceptable. So at this point, probably that may have shocked you, listening to me right now. But then you're going to think, ooh, that's a scary number, Renee, but I'm just me. How can I help, right? How can I help? I'm just me. Actually, you can. And we'll start with going back to menti.com and answering my second question, which is what do you think is the percentage of unpaid work at home that women do? Meaning, if there's 100 chores, at home, how many of those 100 chores do women do? Okay, so let's see. Let's go to Menti and let's go to the next question. What's the percentage of women's share of unpaid care work hours, whether it's taking care of your parents, taking care of the kids, or even your siblings or other people, taking care of laundry, washing dishes, all these things that all women do. What percentage of work do you think we do? Now, to be fair, I'm not putting in here 100% because I know a lot of men out there who do try and help at home, who do love taking care of their kids. And so I think 100% is unfair. That's why I'm giving you some options. So it looks like the votes are slowly coming in. I have somebody at one saying 31%. Most are saying, 76%. Very interesting. Um, all right. So let me give you another couple of seconds to see if more people will vote. But it looks like overwhelmingly 76 is the number. Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. So another vote came in and it looks like it's still 76. Let's see how true that is, right? That metric is. So let's go back to our slides. Um, and if you look at the lower right, bang on, right, it's 76% of the unpaid care work at home. Now, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I hope you know her, she's this amazing woman who was a US Supreme Court justice who have been fighting for equality a long time. And she said that women will have achieved true equality when the men share the responsibility of bringing up the next generation with them, right? If both men and women at home take care of things equally. And, it's very true. Let's look at the statistics. Number one, the first one is that of 100 women, only 47 of us actually go into the labor force, even if we're eligible. Not even half of us go to work. Maybe because of the loyalty of wanting to take care of the family at the onset, maybe thinking, I'm not enough, that's not for me, I'm not going to be good at that. Whatever the reason is, not even half of us want to go into work. So at the onset, we're already at a disadvantage. And then you get to the workforce, and the 47% of women who are there, there's a gender pay gap. But in gender pay gap, there's no boogeyman that is oppressing women and saying, I'm only going to give you 77% of what the other guy has. That does not exist, except maybe for some countries who still say that women can't vote, women can't drive. But even those countries are trying to change, right? But even for the liberal countries, even in the US or the Philippines, where, we're pretty vocal and women are out there kind of trying to take charge, but when it comes to asking for that promotion or that raise, women are always, oh, I'm not ready. I am not worth it. How am I going to start that conversation? So, this aspect of gender pay gap, I feel, is actually something we can control. There's a lot of things we can't control in this world, but I firmly believe that that one, we can help with that, right? And so if you look at all the metrics below, at the start of it, only 47% of us want to go to work. When you're there, not all of us ask for the raise or the promotion that we deserve. And then I go at home, I'm so tired, right? Because I'm taking care of everything. All of that leads to the metric above, which is really only 18% of the companies are being led by women around the world, right? And that's why the challenge is very hard to get us back to equality. So you would always hear these words, diversity and inclusion. Diversity, if I may explain that, is a game, is a number of games, right? It's a game of numbers. And I would always say that, and I heard this from somebody, and I think it's a brilliant anecdote, that diversity is being invited to the party, while inclusion is being invited to dance. That's the difference. We're still working on diversity, but we also have to work on inclusion. And so a lot of these aspects are going to help us, combat equality and maybe not have to see that in the future 150 years from now. So my goal, in showing you those statistics is really to say that, from I don't know how I can help with the 150 years of inequality in the future, with showing you these stats, I hope you can kind of relate to them, because here's where I feel you actually can make a difference, right? So you're asking me now, well, Renee, what can I do? Let's go back to the goals. So in the goals that you had shared with me earlier, you said a lot of people wanted to go travel, find a higher paying job, start a business, build a portfolio, meet my savings goals, buy a car, right? Because a lot of these goals were kind of put on hold. It actually contributes directly to those statistics. And I want to be practical today, actually, even if I just have a short time with you guys to kind of help you, go through this. And if by the end of, this discussion, you get pumped up and say, yeah, I want to help equality. I don't want the 150 years. I'm going to help. I'm going to look at my goals and start them on Monday. And then when you get there on Monday, you say, I want a higher paying job. And then you think, can I really do this? Am I really worth a promotion? Then, my friend, what you have is called imposter syndrome. And what's interesting about today is if you were here all day, because I was, and I love the talks today, Lee Shapiro at the very beginning was talking about startup leadership. But even there, she says she has to combat imposter syndrome. And I would encourage you, if you were not able to catch that, to rewind to that because she had some great tips, right? Which I do not want to repeat. I had to update my slides because she was talking about that. And then in the afternoon, I think Kathleen was also talking about in reimagining your career, imposter syndrome is also there, right? So I'm going to give you tips on how to spot it because sometimes, a lot of times, the way to begin healing and to get over imposter syndrome is to acknowledge that you have it. So, things to watch out for. Here's a few things that you may have encountered that is a sign that you, yes, you have imposter syndrome. The first one is saying, I'm not cut out for this job. Have you ever said that? That's imposter syndrome. The next one is, I need to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. While you may think that that's a positive thing, actually, that's going to hurt you in the long run. That's also imposter syndrome. The next one is, I don't know why I have this title. I don't know why I got promoted. I need to work harder. Also, once again, that's imposter syndrome. So you can see kind of this trend, right? And the last one I wanted to share with you is if you are one of those people who had a setback and it takes you months to get over that, you ruminate it for months and months. And I'm going to be honest, for me, it took years because I do set high goals for myself, right? Then it took me a while to get my confidence back. If you are like me, welcome to the club. You have imposter syndrome. And it's going to take me at least an hour actually to explain imposter syndrome. There's 5 types of it, and how to navigate that. But unfortunately, we don't have that time today. But like I said, I want you to start working on your goals tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. So here's a few tips. There's a great book by Claire Jossa. I don't know her. I'm not getting paid for this, but she talks about ditching imposter syndrome. And it's an entire book, right? So there's going to be a lot of learnings there. But I got like the 3 things she said that could be helping you to kick back that habit. The first one is called emergency fixes. Emergency fixes, what does that mean? So I know that when you, because as all of the good women in this call are, right, that when you try to achieve your goals, you actually go out there, you prepare everything, you research, you get this done, prepare, and on the day that you need to show a presentation or you need to ask your boss and convince him that you deserve this raise, actually, suddenly you get your hands going to get clammy, and you have this thought in your head. I don't know if you know the old Safeguard commercial that says the conscientia. It starts talking you, do you really deserve that, right? So you're starting to have that. So an emergency fix is actually quite simple. If you've Have you ever heard of the power pose? The first time I heard about it, so the power pose is you standing up, putting your arms in your waist, closing your eyes, and taking deep breaths for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Don't skip, right? It's needed. The first time I heard about that, I thought it was silly. I thought it was just something that, people do to have a laugh at you. But actually, there's science behind it because doing that breathing pose for 2 minutes actually increases your testosterone. Yes, ladies, you also have testosterone. And testosterone is the confidence hormone. It's what increases your confidence, which totally explains why men, it's just easy for them to go out there and say, hey, I deserve this raise, right? They can negotiate clearly. And women don't. It's not their nature, right? So stand up in that pose because it's going to increase your testosterone. And also it's going to lower cortisol. cortisol is the stress hormone. So, on a day that you're distressed, that can also help, right? And the combination of that, the increase of testosterone, the increase of confidence, the lessening of stress, actually will allow you to go into that meeting and negotiate better, right? Because you're a bit more confident. That's one. The next one is push yourself. So here's the thing about goals. If your goal is not high enough, if you feel like I can achieve easily my goal, I'm good, I can achieve it, then it means, it's not difficult enough what that goal is. Because growing requires a little bit of pain. Remember when you were a kid, you were growing out teeth. All the babies actually have a teether because it's painful, right? As their teeth come out. And when you were a young adult, remember that wisdom tooth that bothered you a lot? Why is it called a wisdom tooth? Because it's a sign of maturity. And unfortunately, maturity comes with a bit of pain. Now, this is not physical pain, but it deals with a lot of your insecurities. It deals with a lot of your mental health stress. And if you have a goal that you're scared of, great. That's a good sign because it means you're pushing yourself and you're growing. Don't 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 let that hold you back. That's a good sign, right? So push yourself. Now, that two together, if you put it in a journal, which is the third advice, and tomorrow, because I trust that you're going to start your goals tomorrow, right? You write it down, put down everything you have in your brain and said, this is where my head is at. I wanted to get that promotion, but I'm afraid to talk to my boss about it. Here's what I feel that I still need to do, and write that down, right? And then start reading and start working on your goals and month on month journal that. And maybe 6 months later, you could see the change, not just in achieving your goals, but the change in your mindset, which is critical here. Have you changed your own mindset? I hope you have, right? At that point. So, with these three things, it's a quick fix to what is imposter syndrome. Um, and that's important because we really need help, right? Again, 150 years is so difficult to think of. It's very scary. And so I'm going to end this talk with a call to action. Remember who you're doing it for. You're not just doing it for yourself. When you ask for a promotion, you're paving the way for someone else to take your role so they can also move up, right? Think about them. And I have two call to actions here. One is to tell yourself, my goals are not on hold. Tomorrow, when you wake up, tell that to yourself, my goals are not on hold. So, how do you do that? Revisit your goals. Think about it. Is it still what I want? Will this still make me happy? Is this really what's going to take me to the next level? And then take up space. What does it mean to take up space? You need to come out of your shell, go in front, talk to your boss, and say, hey, I know my team is great, but so am I. Maybe I deserve a raise. No, not maybe. I deserve a raise. I deserve that promotion. Can you help me achieve my goals, right? Take up space. You deserve it. You belong there in front. You being in front is not disparaging the rest of your team, right? It's actually a compliment to them as well that you are doing really well. And then commit. Put a date to the goal because if you don't put a date to the goal, it's never going to happen. If you start saying the words someday I'll do it, it's not going to be real. It's not going to happen. So commit, put a date, and be accountable for it. I find personally that it helps if I have other people that I talk to. I express that I have a goal. I want to be promoted next year. And because I told someone else, it actually makes me accountable to move to the next level. Um, so that's the first call to action. Tell yourself my goals are not on hold. You've said it 3 times now, so maybe like Beetlejuice, it's going to come true, right? So the next one is actually now tell someone else, my friend, sister, your goals are not on hold. Pass it on, right? Listen to them, empathize with them, share with them as well that you're going through the same journey. You also don't have all the answers, but you're trying. If there's anything that you learned throughout today, and there's so many amazing talks today, I really love this event, right? Pass it on, pay it forward, and also ask them to then pay it forward. And on through all this, be their cheerleader and be their accountability buddy so that they can move forward. Because if tomorrow you start working on your goals and you inspire another woman to work on their goals, it becomes a ripple, which becomes a wave. And together we can turn the tide of equality and get it nearer, right? And the only way we do that is together. So these are my call to actions today. Women Take Makers, thank you so much for inviting me today. It's been my privilege to talk to you, and I'm just joyful to now receive your questions.